Hi there! In ROM, if you use relations, the result is returned in a form of plain hashes by default. It is not very convenient to work with such objects, however simple they are. If you've watched my previous episode, you already know that repositories simplify this by automatically mapping your data to struct objects with all attributes accessible as getters, which is easier to play with. However, this is just a default behavior that you can disable or tweak further. In this episode, I'll dig a bit into the automatic mapping of your objects into different data structures and hopefully give you some ideas about when they may be useful. We'll cover the examples for default mapping, custom entities, and custom mappers writing a small event store adapter. Let's start then. If you want to use relations directly in your gem or app, you can still enable autostruct by setting the autostruct option to true. Now, when I'll read my author from the database, it will be automatically instantiated into an object of which I can easily access all the attributes. In this case, the first name is automatically read from the corresponding column as I use a SQL data score. It's cool, however, what if I'd like to add custom methods to my struct classes? For this, we can set our custom struct objects, which we will have full control over. In my relation, I can set the struct namespace to entities. Then, in my application, I'm going to create a base entity object that inherits from rom struct. This is not obligatory, but I find it a good practice to rely on objects I control instead of objects controlled by a library, and it's easier to update the code later. Having that, I can now add my author's entity. Inside, I can define a method named fullName, and with this, I get my author objects instantiated automatically to the author entity. Immediately, I can access my newly defined fullName method from the console. In my application, I will rarely call relations directly though, if ever. Usually, I'll work with repositories instead, and those do the struct mapping by default. Let me move the config to the base repository of my application. Because repositories do the autostruct by default, I can remove this line and just specify the namespace for my entities. Now I can have the mapping configuration set in a single place while keeping the behavior untouched. That's it for the basic usage of the automatic mapping functionality. If you are interested only with that, you may finish the episode here. However, in some scenarios, you will need a custom mapping ability. One example would be the read stream of events from the event store. Let me show you how to do this. This is only a part of the episode. Subscribe to Hanami Mastery PRO to see the full video and access several other premium resources. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.